You may have used variables with other programming languages. A variable is simply a container for data. So we store data in a variable, and that variable will be used at some point in our program to accomplish a task. In PHP, the variable must start with the $sign. The $sign can be followed by a letter that can be uppercase or lowercase, or the underscore. The $sign cannot be followed by a number, although it can contain a number. There are no spaces in variables. Variables are case sensitive, and every variable in your application must have a unique name. So here are some examples of variables. To begin, you want to use a meaningful word. If you want to represent the email address, $email would be meaningful. If you want to represent a variable using two words, you would either use the underscore or you would use what is called camel case syntax. These are the standards that we use in PHP. Whichever method you want to use is fine. However, choose a consistent style. It will help you to understand your code and to also debug your code. You also want to comment your code. It is very helpful to place comments so you understand what you're doing. For example, here we are declaring a variable, $tax, and we are assigning it a value of 0.75, and we have a comment that that is the state tax. Next, we have a variable called discount, $discount. We're assigning that to 0.10, and we are indicating that it is an employee discount. Commenting your code will make it very easy for you to understand what you are doing. In PHP, we essentially have string and numeric variables. A string variable, or I guess I should say the value of the variable, would be enclosed in either single or double quotes. A numeric value would be a number, and that can be a whole number, an integer, or a fraction. String and numeric variables are called scalar because they contain a single value. I would also like to point out that PHP is a weakly or loosely typed language. Therefore, the variable type can change when it is used based on how you use it. We also have array variables, which contain multiple values, and objects variables, which are not covered in this class. We will look at arrays later. When you assign a value to a variable, you will be using the equal sign. That is called the assignment operator. PHP statements end in a semicolon. So every time we assign a value to a variable, that is a statement. A semicolon belongs at the end. Here's an example. $first underscore name equals Teresa, semicolon. $last underscore name equals Pelkie, semicolon. $pay rate equals 50.35. Notice Teresa and Pelkie are enclosed in quotes. Teresa is enclosed in double quotes. Pelkie is enclosed in single quotes. These are string variables. It doesn't matter whether we use single or double quotes. If we're using a numeric value that is going to be looked at as a number, we do not enclose it in quotes. Here are some examples of string variables. Hello world, and it's quoted, single quotes. Hello and a variable, there's double quotes. You might want to put double quotes around a zip code. We generally do not perform numeric calculations with zip codes, Therefore, it would be a string variable. And we also have what is called the empty string, 2 quotes with nothing inside it. So any type of expression that would be enclosed in quotes, whether it's single or double, would be a string. Numeric variable examples: 0, whole numbers, decimals, and negatives. You will probably come across the concept of using escape characters with variables. Sometimes we might want to have a quotation inside the variable. However, in the first example, you can't use double quotes twice. Therefore, you have several alternatives. You can have double quotes on the outside and single quotes on the inside. You can have single quotes on the outside and double quotes on the inside. Or you can escape the double quotes on the inside and place double quotes on the outside. The backslash is the escape character, and that will tell PHP to treat that quotation as a string and not as the end of a delimiter, so that you can display those quotes inside that variable expression. There are 3 other commonly used escape characters. However, these do not affect the output. They affect the source code, not how the content is displayed in the browser. The new line character, \n. The carriage return, which essentially is like a new line. It's hitting the enter key, /r. The tab, /t. You would use this to make your PHP application look good in the browser source code. There is a difference between using single and double quotations with variable expressions. Single quotations will interpret that value literally. Double quotations will extrapolate, which is another word for interpret, the variable values inside that expression. You will probably be using double quotations most of the time when you have a variable inside a value assigned to another variable. When you are just assigning a string value to a variable, it does not matter whether you use double quotes or single quotes. It will not affect the outcome of that variable. However, if you have an expression that contains a variable, if that expression was enclosed in single quotes, it would literally display the variable itself, such as we see over here. However, if that expression was enclosed in double quotes, it would interpret the value of those variables, and we would see something like "Hello, Teresa Pelkie." PHP gives us a very useful function that we can use to test the values of the variables to make sure that we are doing things correctly. It also comes in handy to debug your code in the event that things don't work out the way you think they should. That is the print_r function. So to use that function, all you do is pass the variable to it, and it will display the value. PHP contains several global variables, and we will be learning more about them in the near future. One is the $_server. Notice that is uppercase. And if you were to use that variable with the print_r function, it would show you information about the web server. So the $_server global variable contains information about the web server. Notice that I have used the pre-element because it will enable the display on the web page to be in a more readable format.